Hi, how you doing today? I have a chart I want to look at here in a minute, but first I wanted to talk about something that I found very interesting. A friend of mine and I were talking, and they pointed out something that I hadn't known. Did you know that George Floyd and Charlie Kirk have the same birthday? 20 years apart. And that's pretty fascinating. So, unfortunately, I don't have the time of day for either of them. But what I do have is enough information to know that their suns are indeed both 21 degrees Libra. And I find that very fascinating that their suns are the same degree, sitting right at the beginning of the third decan of Libra. The third decan of Libra is ruled by Mercury. So, we have two people who, right now, at this day and age, both of them, their legacy and their fate has now been pushed to the forefront and is being compared and contrasted. And it's being used for messaging about people's opinions on the law. So we have a connection there of Mercury messaging and communication and Libra, which is law. And so I just find that very fascinating that their suns are conjunct and they're being compared and contrasted. There's also this little excerpt about 21 degrees Libra I can read for you, and I will leave it to you to take from it what you will. So this is an excerpt from Adriano Corelli, and this is about 21 degrees Libra specifically. So it says, this nature shows some undeniably positive features and bright gifts, or even magic abilities, yet it lacks some practical faculties needed to make one's way in everyday life. The native will have to work in someone else's employ, which he can do without debasing himself, as service does not mean servility to him. He can keep his self-respect even in the humblest positions, and is apt to resent the slightest encroachment upon his free will. Unfortunately, the native is likely to stick to absurd facts and to tread ways leading him nowhere. The greater his stubbornness, the more cruel the disappointments fate has in store for him. He will not make any headway, but will see all his plans crumble and his alleged friends turn their backs on him. So I will leave that for you to ponder on as you will. And then here with Kaminsky, we have it saying for 21 degrees Libra, denotes one who is liable to be led astray by externalities, who grasps at the shadow and misses the substance. Ornaments and the things which gratify the demanding senses only allure, but never satisfy. The continued demand for more. If in the government of himself he does not employ care and intelligence, he will find himself stung by a serpent, and the wound can never be healed. It is a symbol of retribution. But what I really wanted to talk about today was this press conference where they released the alleged text messages from Robinson. I read them. I don't know if you've read them, but a lot of people are kind of saying that these seem very suspicious. They're calling shenanigans because this just doesn't seem like an authentic conversation that a 22-year-old would be having after going through what they just went through. I have to speak in circles so I don't get in trouble again. Um, so I wanted to look at the press conference, and I'm like 95% certain I have an accurate chart here, but I just could not definitely find the location. I'm pretty sure I got the right location, which I have Spanish Fork, Utah, as my location for this chart. But if you know for certain where this was, please let me know so I can update my chart and see if it's much different. But I'm pretty sure I got the right one. But anyways, so we're looking for messaging in this chart. So we're going to be paying attention to third house and Gemini and Mercury. This is all the stuff that deals with messaging. So third house, we have an intercepted Pisces. It begins in Aquarius. Then we have Saturn conjunct Neptune in our third house. So this is hidden messaging. But with that intercepted Pisces, it's hidden messaging that is engulfed in secrets and deception. And with Saturn there, it's to maintain the status quo. Saturn conjunct Neptune has consistently represented lies to maintain the status quo in many of my chart readings for the last several weeks. Next, we have Gemini on the DC. DC is open enemies. Gemini is communication. So we are dealing with the communication of our open enemies. We are dealing with the narrative of our open enemies. And then we have Mercury conjunct the Sun, intercepted in Virgo in the 9th house. So this is appealing to people's ideals. And this is a plan to take control of people's ideals, but we're trying to conceal it. We're trying to manipulate it. Now, with Aries being ruled by Mars, Neptune's in Aries, we can see that there is a goal, there is an action that we're trying to do with this. And with Mars in the 10th house, we see that is trying to affect the public image of this. And with that being in Libra, that is the law or the government trying to do that. So we have Saturn conjunct Neptune opposing Mercury and the Sun. We have Jupiter conjunct the Moon, squaring Mars, but trining Saturn conjunct Neptune. So we have this goal to affect this narrative, to emotionally manipulate people. But with that Jupiter conjunct the Moon trining Saturn conjunct Neptune, it seems instead that people are intuitively seeing through that nonsense. And so this is where this chart is implying right now. So let's see. We also have Uranus in the 6th house, and that is making a grand trine with Mercury and the Sun and Pluto. It's also sextiling Saturn conjunct Neptune and squaring Venus. It is Uranus trining Pluto this whole time has consistently been about unexpected things forcing the truth to come out. The second Uranus and Pluto started trining, that was when these Epstein files blew up in the first place. And it has just been consistently shaking things up in unexpected ways and forcing the truth to come out, with the ultimate goal being a complete breakdown of systems so that they can be rebuilt again stronger. And with Pluto in 2nd house Aquarius in this chart, that is ultimately breaking down and reconstructing of the values in Aquarius of society. So this is all just leading up to that big event that we're talking about with the solar eclipse coming soon. But I am fully aware that, what I've pointed out in this chart is more or less the obvious. Like, no duh, this is clearly a bad attempt at making a cover-up story. It's almost as if podcasters and Fox News hosts aren't prepared to handle such difficult positions in the government and shouldn't be trusted with secret information or the execution of anything. But I just wanted to point out that even though that's fairly obvious, like the chart is implying the same thing, that these messages are not authentic. They are being used to construct a narrative, and that is how this government is operating. They are really crumbling in all sides right now. Like, their house of cards is falling down. They're freaking out. They're making mistakes, and it's just being shown here. And so definitely an interesting time to be alive. I'm curious what you all think about this chart, plus the 2 excerpts of 21 Degrees Libra from earlier. Be sure to let me know, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. You can book a reading with me at www.dhastrology.com. And what do you think? Tell me your thoughts. I hope you all have a wonderful night. Bye-bye.